How you going, guys? Trout here, and today I'm in my boat and I'm going to bring up another knot video. But this knot video I'm pretty excited about because this is a knot that I feel like I've come up with by myself. I'm not 100% sure about that because it may have been a thing that I've seen in the past, and then one night I've just remembered it and started doing it and forgotten where I've seen it from. But this is where I need you guys to get the feedback from yous. So after you've watched this knot, please leave a comment or something like that to tell me that if you've seen this knot before, because like I said, I'm not going to claim 100% this is a knot that I've come up with, but it feels like this is a knot that I have, because I'm not sure about yous, but I love tying knots. I've been through 1,001 knots, and you sort of get to your favorite ones. You whittle them down to a special few that suit your particular situation that you use to fish with all the time. But this one came along. Just quick backstory was because I bought a rod with micro guides, and I had never had really much to do with micro guides before. This is going back 2 to 3 seasons ago, so 3 years ago. And I'll just give you a quick look. So if the camera can pick it up, this rod here is the one I'm talking about, and this one underneath is your normal size guides. So the one on top has 6mm guides, and the one underneath has got your micro guides that they go down to 4mm or something crazy. I haven't really looked into it that much, to be honest. But yeah, this is like a rod that I was always using. It's got the large guides, and then this one down the bottom has got your micro guides, and you can see them as they're coming out through the tip. They are a lot different if the camera can pick that up. And now I did a little bit of research on the micro guides, and basically they were implemented because it just distributes stress a little bit better. It's apparently longer casts, and there's less weight for the rod tip, and increased sensitivity as well across that blank. So that's one thing you always do want. All them 4 things are definitely stuff that you want in a rod blank. But yeah, so I went fishing with this new rod and tied my normal leader knot, put the normal size length. I think I had 2 rod lengths of leader, and I basically cast it off 1,001 times. I reckon I'll put about 8 jig heads and with soft plastics on them into the drink, and I thought something's definitely going on, but I wasn't thinking about it was the rod. I was thinking it more along the line it was the guides, and I damaged them somehow before I went fishing. So I came home, went to the supermarket, and I bought myself a pair of stockings, and I ran the stockings through them just to make sure that there was no imperfections or nicks or cuts or anything like that in the guides, which I've had in previous times. But no, the stocking went through fine and the guides were fine. So next thing I did was get on to the internet, and I looked through 1,000,001 threads about micro guides, and there was obviously a mixed emotion about micro guides to normal standard guides on spin rods. And what I could tell from the ones that I read were using braid through through a micro guide and having a normal size leader or longer leaders did tend to foul up, and then you could have things like I had where lures would fly off, or you'd get a rod tip wrap and then it wouldn't go anywhere. It'd basically go straight in front of you, and then you'd get a little bit of loose line down the bottom on your reel. There was a few threads that were saying that you could do one or two things, and that was to shorten your leader so then it actually sat out past your last guide, and you had a shorter leader that then you could cast, and then it's just your braid running through the guides and it wouldn't foul up. And the other one was a different leader knot, and basically I took them away, tried them both, and I didn't really like using the smaller leader because I don't know if you were out there trout fishing, having really visible line like braid really close to the lure in high pressured waters where fish see a lot of lures and line and all that kind of stuff. I don't really like doing that. I like having a longer leader so that it's less visible, especially for them high pressured areas. And I tried the other knot, and basically before I went fishing, I gave it a few casts, probably about 100 or so casts out, just outside my garage, along the road. I got a jig head cut off the hook, and yeah, same thing happened. I had it break off 1 or 2 times, and then plus I had a lot of rod tip wraps. So I thought to myself, what can I do? And for over the next 4 or 5 nights, I was just sitting in the shed, and like I said, I've seen a lot of knots, so that's why I'm not guaranteeing 100% that this is a knot that I've come up with. I'm hoping it is. Like I said, I need you guys to give me a lot of feedback on this. And yeah, I just mucked around with in leader line and my braid, and then I sort of took a couple of bits off different knots that I know of and just mashing them together. I tested them all out, and I had a lot of failures until I came along one that worked or seemed to work perfectly. And I've tested it for like pretty much 2.5 seasons now. That's fishing in impoundments and walking along the streams chasing trout, yellow belly, redfin, and all the rest of it. And for me, it works perfectly. Like, I've had a few times where it may have, like, it's fouled up on me, but I think that's majority of the times where I'm getting a little bit too excited and I'm not checking for a wind knot down on my spool before I cast it. So that's why I'm bringing this knot to you guys, and I'm super excited about it. So just sit back and have a watch, and then yeah, like I said, comment and give me some feedback. So let's do it. Yeah, so guys, just like all my other videos, using the trusty old rope because the camera is going to pick this up a lot easier, just so you can get the idea, the basics and the fundamentals of this knot before you tie it with line, because this obviously is way easier to see visually than line. And basically all we need to do is this blue rope with the white spots on it is going to be our leader line, and the white with the black spots on it, this is going to be our braid that's coming from our imaginary reel through our rod. So what we need to do first is cross them over and then go opposite ways parallel as we are there. And we're going to start this knot off like a bit of a uni knot, but instead of going 4 or 5 times, we're only going to go 2. So pull it up, you make your loop, which makes a 6 as you're looking to it. And what you want to do is you want to cross them 2 and then go through your hole, back out towards you to make 1, and then through the hole, back out towards you to make the 2. And then once you've made them 2, you just want to neaten them and tighten them off, and then just let them be. That's all you need to do with your leader line, is just them 2, plain and simple. Now we turn the knot around, so now our braid is coming back up towards us. I mean, if you're left-handed, you might be doing it opposite. So you got these going parallel now, and what you need to do is you want to come back down, so give yourself a little bit, well, the rope I'm going to have to give myself a little bit, but come back down towards where you're pinching it in your thumb and your first finger, and then once you pinch it, just make yourself a nice little loop. So it's going to look like that towards you. And then with your slack, come across with your other hand. As you see, I'm picking it up with my other hand, if this makes it a little bit easier. And then we want to start one loop. So we just loop it around, and once we've started that one loop, we come back up towards our other loop. So if you can see there, I've started off a loop and I've looped it once. So now we want to do 5 loops, or wraps if you want to call them wraps. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, Might just do 4 with the rope because it's a lot thicker. And then that's what you've got. So you've got your first that you've started off like the uni knot, and you've doubled it twice, and then you've turned it around, and then you've made a consecutive number of wraps all together back up towards that loop that you've made. Now you've got that loop there, you want to push your leader through. So you bring your leader up and you make a nice little loop. So with your tag end of your braid, you want to come straight through that loop that you've made and then just pull it all tight. And then once you've done that, just snug them up a little bit and just pull everything, so your tag and your leader line, and just snug them up. And then that's what you got from your next step. So you've got them 2 that you've done at the start like a uni knot, then you've got the consecutive of wraps that have gone back up towards themselves, and then you've pushed the leader up to make another loop, and you've gone through that gap, and then you've just pulled it all tight, snugged it all down. Once you have that, you let go of your tags. If this was line, you wet it down, and then you just give it a good pull, and then you get the tag end of, which is your braid, and you just go a little pull and then snug it down, and then that's what your knot ends up being. I mean, obviously here it looks big and nasty, but when I show you on actual fishing line, you'll be able to see that it is a very slimline knot, and especially when you're using it on 6 pound and 6 pound line, or 6 pound and 8 pound or less line, it becomes even a smaller diameter knot, and yeah, it will punch your cast out there nice fast and nice and straight with no resistance. So now we've done it on the rope, we'll just put that to the side, and then we'll get to actually using it with fishing line. So what I'll do is I'll grab some bigger fishing line like 50 pound and 50 pound or something, or 30 pound and 40 pound or something like that, so you can see it a little bit better. And then I'll put it with my other reel that I just showed you a minute ago. It's got 6 pound and 6 pound line on it. I'll just retie that one, and I'll show you how nice and small profile this knot is. So let's do it. So rightio guys, we've got our 40 pound leader and our 30 pound nice high vis line for the camera to pick up on as I show you this knot. I'm right-handed, so I start with the leader line in my left and the braid in my right that's going down to my reel. So we need to make them go parallel. So you're bringing them parallel against each other, and you want to make a nice little 6 as if you're doing a uni knot. But all we want to do is 2 wraps, so we're going down away from ourselves through the circle and back up, and down through that circle and back up, and then we're just going to snug that off, and that's all we do on that side. And then we turn it around, and then with the tag end that's coming out here of your braid, you just want to pull that out, give yourself about 200 mil from the actual knot, just to give yourself a little bit to play with. And you want to make another loop in your fingers. If you can see that, I put it up against my black top, and you just want to make it look just like that, where you got your leader line in the middle and then your loop coming down. And when you've got that part, I like to change hands and just hold it with the other hand to start off the first loop. So the first loop I want to go towards me, up and away over the top, and then just get it to sit there nice and snugly with my finger. And that just helps you with that first wrap, and I don't count that as a wrap. It's sort of just like a half a turn basically, just so you can get things started, and then everything else will be neater from there on. So you do your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You do your 5 wraps, and I'll let go of it all. And if you can see that first little loop that I've sort of just crushed down with my finger, it comes undone a little bit, but then you have them other wraps consecutively going up towards the next loop and nice and snug. So you just put your finger on them, and then with your leader line you want to poke it up through your next loop. So if you can see there, you got your loop and it's sitting flat there. I'm just going to poke that leader line up through and make another loop. And once I've made that loop, the same way you're making your wrap, so towards yourself and away and over, you want to just put through this new loop that you've made. Once you've pulled it through that loop, you grab your tag end of your braid and the leader line that's coming down back towards your spool, and you just want to pull them tight and then grab onto your tag of your braid and then just sort of slowly just snug that all down just till it gets to not super tight, but just till it makes it half neat. And then after that, let go of everything. So now you've got just your main line. So you've got your main braid and your main leader. Wet down your knot, just in between the two knots that you've got there. And then you just want to pull them up nice and tight. Then with your teeth, just grab your tag end of your leader. Give it a nice solid pull, and then with your braid, same. And then once you pull it nice and tight, give it a nice stern pull. We've got a couple of tags there to chop off. So where's your scissors? So with the braid, I cut them off and leave, a good, just a nice little tag on your braid. And then with your leader that's coming out, I always leave probably about 3 mil on it, cut it off. And be careful you don't burn yourself, but I always like to finish off my leader knots with actual lighter, just to melt down that tag end and get it to stick nice. You don't have to burn it all the way down, but you just get it to shrink nice and close to the knot, and then you just push it down and tap it. That flattens it like a big flat apron or umbrella over the opening of where the knot is pinched down on it, and just makes it a little bit stronger. And then there you have what I am calling the micro FT knot. So like I said, I designed this to go through micro guides, but this definitely can be used in other applications, like on bait casters for casting freshwater, or up north chasing barra, or in the estuaries for jewfish and all the rest of it, because I have fished it for trout. Like I said, I've started doing this knot for the main purpose of going through micro guides. Some swim bait rods have micro guides, and also for yellow belly and for cod and redfin and all the rest of them. So it does have multiple applications, but like I said, I did design this knot to start off with for going through micro guides, but it does go through any guide system just as well. So what I'll just show you is obviously the knot itself, that when it is compacted on small gear, they go through the micro guides on my little trout rod that I've got here. And yeah, it's just a tiny slim little knot that just goes through their micro guides like nothing else when you cast it. Because like I said, the biggest problem I had was me being so attached to braid, and I couldn't let that go, and I wanted to discover a knot that would go through their micro guides and not have any dramas. And yeah, this is the knot that I've come up with, and it has done the trick for me. It does go through them guides really well, and I've put it to the test just to see how casting durability, if the knot comes undone and all the rest of it. So yeah, I definitely need you guys to come back and give me some good feedback, and comment on this for me, I should say. Just yeah, whether it's you have seen this knot before, or no, I haven't seen this knot, would be muchly appreciated, so I know that I actually have come up with this knot. As like I said, I don't want to be trying to steal someone else's thunder of someone else that has made this knot and I've just forgotten about it. But yeah, so this one should be a really interesting one just to keep an eye on, to see what the comments come up like. So Thanks for watching, guys. If you like it, cruise across to that like button. Like I said, please leave a comment and tell me if you've seen this knot before or it's an original knot. And I am not imagining it that I did come up with it. Cruise across to that subscribe button. And yeah, until next time, guys, go catch some fish.